If suffering is so unbearable, why do we keep coming back to it? We say we want peace, yet we chase chaos. We say we want happiness, yet we sabotage it. We say we fear pain, yet something deep inside us craves it. Think about it. Why do we obsess over tragic stories? Why do we return to toxic relationships, self-destructive habits, and cycles of misery that we know will hurt us? Why does a part of us need to suffer? Fyodor Dostoevsky understood this contradiction better than anyone. He didn't just write about suffering, he lived it. He saw how suffering doesn't just destroy people, it shapes them. And perhaps the darkest truth of all? Without suffering, we feel empty. Because suffering is not just pain, it is purpose. If suffering is so unbearable, why do we often choose it voluntarily? Think about the movies and books that move us the most. They are filled with tragedy. The memories we replay in our minds the most, they are often painful ones. The emotions that feel the most real, they come from struggle, heartbreak, and loss. Dostoevsky believed that we cling to suffering because it makes us feel alive. In his novel Notes from Underground, the narrator says, "Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness." But why? Because suffering forces us to confront who we really are. Happiness is passive. It is easy, effortless. It requires nothing. Pain is active. It demands attention. It carves itself into us. The things that shape us the most are not the easy moments, but the ones that break us. And deep down, we know this. So even when we escape suffering, we find ways to invite it back in. Dostoevsky's characters are filled with flawed, self-destructive people. They are not evil. They are simply human. Take Crime and Punishment. Raskolnikov murders a woman, not out of necessity, but because he wants to prove that he is above morality. But instead of feeling powerful, he is consumed by guilt. Why? Because he cannot escape his own nature. Dostoevsky believed that humans are not purely rational beings. We do not always choose what is best for us. We choose what feels real, even if it destroys us. This is why we stay in relationships we know will hurt us, dwell on painful memories instead of moving on, create problems for ourselves even when life is good. Because without struggle, we lose our sense of self. And in some twisted way, suffering is comforting, because it reminds us that we are still alive. But here's the problem. Modern society tells us that suffering is bad. We are taught that life should be comfortable, easy, free from pain. We are sold instant gratification. If you feel sad, buy something. If you feel lonely, scroll through social media. If you feel lost, distract yourself. But Dostoevsky would have laughed at this idea, because to remove suffering is to remove depth. Without struggle, we do not grow. We do not create. We do not question. This is why the most profound art, philosophy, and literature come from pain, because suffering forces us to go inward. And a life without suffering is a life without meaning. If suffering is inevitable, then the only question that matters is, what will you do with it? Dostoevsky believed that suffering could do one of two things: destroy you, transform you. The choice is yours. Step 1. Stop running from pain. Stop treating discomfort as a disease. See it for what it is: a teacher. Step 2. Find meaning in struggle. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? The greatest people in history used their suffering as fuel. Nietzsche called this amor fati, the love of fate. Embrace everything, even the hard moments. Step 3. Turn suffering into art. Pain is raw energy. Turn it into something. Write, create, push yourself. Use suffering to build something that will outlive you. Because here is Dostoevsky's final message: pain is inevitable. What you do with it is your choice. Most people will spend their lives avoiding suffering. They will numb themselves, distract themselves, escape into illusions. But a few will see pain for what it truly is: a doorway to strength, to depth, to something greater. The question is, will you run from suffering, or will you use it to become something more? The choice is yours.